This video is about exponent rules. So we'll start off with what are exponents, what are bases, and what is a power. So if I have something like x to the n, x here is the base, so this is called the base. N is called the exponent. And this whole thing together, the base with the exponent, is called a power. Okay, so let's look at some rules that we have when we're dealing with powers. So if I have something, so the first rule is your product rule. So if I have something like x to the n times x to the m, so notice that they're the same base. What happens there is I can combine them, bring them together by adding the exponents and keeping the same base. So x to the n times x to the m is the same thing as x to the n plus m. Okay, so for example, if I have 5 squared times 5 cubed, that's going to be equal to 5 to the 5. Okay, so I just add the exponents together. So when I have, but I have to have like bases. If I have something like 2 cubed times 3 squared, I don't have like bases, so I can't bring those together. So that doesn't work with the product rule. Okay, let's look at a few more rules. So I have also the quotient rule. So if I have something like x to the m over x to the n, so again, important that you have the same base. What I can do there is I can bring them together by subtracting the exponents. So that's the same thing as x to the m minus n. Okay, so for example, if I have 2 to the 5 over 2 cubed, that's going to be equal to 2 to the 5 minus 3, so 2 squared, which I can figure that one out, is just 4. Okay, and again, remember you have to have like bases in order to do that. With the power rule, this is a little bit different. So if I have something like x to the m and then all to the n, what happens then is that that's the same thing as saying x to the m times n. Okay, so if you ever see something like this where you have an exponent bracket exponent, you're just multiplying the exponents together. So for example, if I have 2 to the 4 cubed, that means 2 to the 4 times 3, so it's the same thing as 2 to the 12. Okay, and then the last rule here. So the zero rule, if I have any base, it doesn't matter, to the exponent 0, it's always going to be equal to 1. So anything to the exponent of 0, so 5 to the 0 is equal to 1, 1,000 to the 0 is equal to 1. So just a little trick to remember that that's always the case. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching. Good luck with the assignments.